Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason. I'm here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Brenham, Texas. And this Star Report is for August the 7th through August the 13th. It is 2024, or so the calendars tell us. Um, Everybody likes to doubt everything now, like, what time is it really? Where are we at? The only thing you can really know is yourself, and how hard is that? Blah, blah, blah. Let's jump right into it rather than getting philosophical. Let's talk about the sun. The sun is still in solar maximum. That is a time period where it sort of raises in energetic output, is a good way to say that. And so we still have about another year ish of solar maximum, meaning that it can still rise higher, but usually we're towards the last year of solar maximum, it starts to go back down the bell curve. But yesterday we had a couple of X-class solar flares, which did not have any Earth-directed CMEs, so we shouldn't be bracing for any impacts. But when we have solar flares, that still sends particle charging through the electromagnetic connections that we have. And when we sort of have those supercharged energy events, sometimes that causes our high-tech stuff to slow down. And that being paired with a Mercury retrograde. Sometimes it's connection problems, sometimes it's speed problems. Like it takes forever to download a photo, which usually wasn't so fast, stuff like that. Some of you, if you're into gaming or watching video content online, sometimes you'll get that sort of spiral of death stuff where it's loading still. And that's the things you can kind of expect externally. Internally, solar flares really are a triggering event, right? So sometimes you'll have the feeling of higher heart palpitations if you have any spectrum disorders or chronic diseases. Those might be triggered to flare ups when we have solar flares. We did have a coronal hole move through, or which is Earth facing, and we saw that kicked off some Southern California earthquakes. So pay attention to earthquake watch if you're anywhere near earthquakes. Is that all about the sun? It seems like that's so like blase or passe. Like, oh, that's all that's happening on the sun. Um, shouldn't expect too many geomagnetic magnetic storms, right? So auroras shouldn't be reaching down into Texas with the amount that's going on, but there are large sunspots that are facing the Earth on the sun, Earth facing part of the sun, and so pay attention to whatever you're watching for. NASA has it, Space Weather has it. Uh, all of your channels that sort of show when those flares happen and sort of gauge what you need to know by what's happening during the week until you get back here next week and I tell you what happened. Leads us into what is our solar sign that we're in. We are in Leo. Leo is centered on the heart, right? So alchemically, you're going through a heart expansion, a heart opening. Sometimes it's a bravery, right? We're moving through gateways, right? And so you have to have courage to go to the next level, to move into the unknown, to expand to your own powers, right? So that's the energy of Leo. And so extrasolar activity might be messing with that, even in the higher heart area where your heart interacts with your lungs, right? So sometimes shortness of breath can be accompanied by those things. As the smoke moves right into my nose. We're currently in several retrogrades, 5 of them to be exact. Those are really opportunities to explore the energy of those planets, not necessarily a holding back or a limitation, right? And so those retrogrades are Pluto until October, Saturn until November, Neptune until December, along with Chiron until December, and then we are currently in Mercury retrograde until the end of August. Mercury retrogrades are short, that's why they have several during the year. And so you should really sort of be going through the energies with these planets in retrograde of revealing parts of your life that you are called to take more responsibility for, specifically more of your spiritual direction, or allowing your spirit to lead more rather than not necessarily logic or the mind, but logic or the mind. It's not saying to be illogical or full-hearted. It's saying to sort of trust the intuition and sort of see how it can go like that. And then with Chiron, it's really sort of a deep healing, right? These can be old wounds, these can be past life wounds. And then really sort of moving towards Mercury, which is in retrograde, revealing truths, right? Truths about relationships, helping you communicate the truth better because it's about communication. And then, of course, if you are traveling, sometimes being at a different location reveals that there's truths that are only geographically limited, right? So you become somebody different when you're not stuck in the same old, same old. So pay attention to those energies that's going on with the retrograde. See the sun sign, the retrogrades leads us into today, Wednesday, August the 7th. And today is the day that we are halfway to the fall equinox. So that means we're halfway away from the summer solstice. Summer went super quick this year. And that sort of idea that time is speeding up um, is interesting. But one of the sort of things to sort of pay attention to is like the old adage back in the day, uh, time flies when you're having fun, right? So time also flies when we're being effective and we are about the work that is beneficial to not only ourselves but humanity, right? So sort of take it with a grain of salt. It went fast, it seems, but that is because so much has happened and so much has changed. So you can just sort of look back. What were you doing? I think it was June. What were you doing in June? That all of a sudden you're way past all that BS, or you've expanded whatever you started into such greatness that you thought it was going to take years, but it took uh, less than 2 months. Yeah, cool stuff. So that's what's happening here. Yeah, that's the energy, right? So you might be feeling sort of an energy. I talk about what you're supposed to be feeling during this. When you sort of get in the middle of stuff, right? You're at a decision point, right? Is the direction you moved, right? Great. Or is the peak of the hill that you've come to, what's the pathway down? What's the route you want to take to the next destination? Leads us into tomorrow, which is everybody's favorite day in the metaphysical world. Uh, Thursday, 8/8, the Lion's Gate. Um, it is August the 8th, which is why 8/8. And then Lion's Gate is because we're in Leo, and then a lot of transitions into higher octaves, to new understandings, to ways of life, to even cultural and civilizational shifts sort of happen in regards to Leo or Regulus. Starts the reset of global dominating kind of cultures like the Roman Empire and stuff like that. It's also, uh, according to some calendars, everybody gets the calendars different or what they believe different, depending on if they're going by ancient aliens, their own calendar, whose book, that book. But it's about 10,000 years since the fall of Atlantis, is tomorrow, 8/8. And so it is also super powerful in 2024 because 2024 is an 8 universal year, 2, 2, and 4, adds up to 8. And so it's really this idea that we can shift into a more abundance mindset, right? Rather than a cultural decline, or rather than a financial apocalypse. Really, it's the honoring of these things that are falling away for this new creation, right? And so we want to sort of think at the core of ourselves, like who are we um, in our heart of hearts, adding our energy to, of what kind of world do we want to be in. And so you might want to think of this as the birth of what everybody's calling the new age or the next civilization, right? And so what things are falling apart so this higher vibration can take hold. Yeah, so it's a big day on Thursday, right? Maybe we want to take off, call it sick to work. Um, but I don't think anything's going to be cataclysmic on that day. So you can go about your day and then just sort of notice that the energy is shifting. Friday, the 9th, you're going to want to just sort of take that energy in. You always want to give yourself a break. And then also You want to think of moving into this new era is almost like going down a hallway, right? So if the door opens on 8/8, then you're moving through the threshold for the next couple of days. And then usually Lionsgate is lasts the entire month of August, right? So you want to think that this gateway is opening, right? So if it's slow opening, or your hesitation to move through is sort of happening, you sort of take Friday to sort of like, how do I want to move through this? How have I moved through this? What kind of energy is actually happening in the physical form? I just sort of take all that in. A lot of this can be accessed through meditation. Um, if you happen to be into other things of the medicinal nature that come from nature, those are also okay to sort of expand or intensify your ability to access these energies. You could do that on Friday evening. And that leads us into 8/10, Saturday. The moon is going to be the farthest away from Earth all month, right? And so that sort of, I don't say abandonment, but that sort of ability to sort of be in solitude. That's the word. I was like thinking silence in my head. Sometimes solitude brings silence. It's going to sort of give you that soulful solitude where your own inner guidance is what comes through, right? You're not being guided necessarily by the energies that are around you, right? The sun's far away, the moon is as far away as it gets, right? So it's almost like everybody's moved to the other room, and all of a sudden you can just hear the energy or the sound at a distance or through muffled walls, right? And then it's just you and your own thoughts in your own head. That's the kind of energy that's going to be going on Saturday with the moon like that. Sunday, 8/11. Um, Also a day to just sort of chill. After that, sort of, you want to discern what it feels like to be led by your own divinity, right? And this is to say that you're not supplicating something outside the self, but you're really receiving messages from your own soul. And that happened on Sunday. Monday, we have another meteor shower. It's like meteor showers happen all the time. And so it is the Perseids meteor shower peak on Monday, the 12th. And what that sort of does, that sort of brings in epiphany moments, right? So if you're spending all this time contemplating your own divinity, you might have this epiphany about how all along you've been in charge of your own life, and you can learn in a different way, and you don't necessarily need the shock value of how you've operated up until now to actually make change, right? You can just sort of understand the self. And so that could be extra dreams, extra vivid dreams, but it could be even waking stuff during the day when you can't even see the other person's, right? These meteor showers are falling even when it is daylight. But if you want to go and see if you can catch those in your non-cloudy sky, go ahead and see if that is something for you. It's always good to sort of experience stuff like that. When you can see it in person, it sort of triggers deep DNA activation kind of stuff, where the human DNA code has these moments where they just sort of encode it, right? That certain feelings and emotions and potentials happen when these things go on. So pay attention to that on Monday. Sounds like a good Monday. And then Tuesday, you really want to be focusing on that it's the 33rd week of the year. And 33 is also a master number, right? Anytime it's a double number, it's a master number. And the idea of 33 is really assigned to the ascended master sort of class of spiritual guidance, right? And ascended masters would be people like Jesus, Buddha, um, Krishna, stuff like that, right? And so these ascended masters really are templates, right? So with one of the things that you could be doing on a master day like that, or a master energy week like that, is allowing them to come close, right? And so it's almost like you can even do this with real people. You can even do this with real people. You want to be around people that are expansive, right? That their energy and their vibration is about going higher, that they are seeking a divine path, that they're not obsessed with, but that they're desiring of finding joy, not just temporary happiness. And so those are the kind of things when you know you've been around people who've achieved that, and they just sort of have this vibe about them. That's the idea of this 33rd week in the Ascended Master, right? So imagine uh, when we invite and call those things near, that it affects us, right? It's almost like their energy raises our energy. So when you can get around people that are expanding at the same time, that's going to be really good. And of course, Tuesday, the 13th, is the last day in our report. Also, it should be a pretty powerful week. It seems like a positive week. It doesn't seem like anything really big negative is happening, unless you're governed by modern society and you are concerned with retirement accounts and stuff like that, with the global financial thing sort of shifting. But those things seem to shift more often. And the way through is usually caution and patience, not running through the streets with your hair on fire. So the energy of the day and the planetary alignments are really causing you to be less affected by that, because you're in your own divinity and your power. So the more you can focus on that and ignore, to the extent that you are able, the stuff that's happening in the culture that you happen to be living in and amongst, then that would be the most benefit of the energy of the week. The planets are working for you, the sun is working for you, the meteors are working for you, the ascended masters are coming for you. I think it's a good week. Until next week, of course, you can stop by the shop here in downtown Brenham. You can find us at newdimensionscrystals.com if you are having trouble, or you just want to, you know, add some vibe to the transformations you're doing. You can always book a session here at newdimensionscrystals.com. Like and subscribe. And until next week, everybody, many blessings.